Day 3, the last day. Let's go.
Silver Lake is an investor. Disney CEO Bob Iger is an investor. Kyrie Irving is an investor. Victor Oladipo, is he still in it? Yeah, he's an investor. It's been endorsed by Cardi B and Offset. Genie's ain't no joke, and he came up with it in Philly. True.
Not quite, but
yeah. Genie's is an avatar company. And I want to start this panel by asking you, define what is an avatar company for me and those people out there don't know.
Yeah, I think the word avatar has such a wild interpretation by most people. At the end of the day, most people have thought avatars in the past to be a sticker pack or some type of profile picture or like an animation. To us, an avatar is the future of digital identity. And I feel like the way that incumbents typically talk about identity, it falls on deaf ears. But if we imagine a world where we're with our AR glasses or our headsets, whatever the next computing device is going to be, we feel like an avatar is going to be the next username. So we want to be an avatar tools company that empowers people to be able to create those avatars, and then also the different avatar experiences that come along with it.
Yeah. How do you leverage an avatar? Because I mean, I have an Oculus. How many people have an Oculus in this room? Raise your hand. Damn. I have an Oculus. From time to time I use it and play some golf or boxing. But you know, they ask you all the time when you walk into that thing, if you want to update your avatar, change the clothes. From time to time I'll do it. But how do you leverage an avatar so that people eventually in this digital world that we're moving into more and more can make money off of future avatar?
Yeah, I think we're in the infancy stages of avatars, right? Like people today still use avatars just for the visual aesthetic, just like a video game character. But at one point, your avatar is going to represent your inner self, your personality. That doesn't mean just by the way that you dress it up or the way that you create the avatar, but with AI growing, it's going to develop a personality itself too. So like if you think about yourself in the real world, your personality is just based on the experiences that you have in life. And that defines who you are, right? So if I play a lot of soccer, then I build up the stamina to maybe be good at skiing and so forth. And if I have different experiences partying in Ibiza, then that's going to influence my personality and so forth. It's going to have an impact on the different things I do in life. So what if we can bring that to the digital world? So I think that's where avatars are headed, but the way to leverage it in the future will be as your own autonomous persona, your username, and your personality.
And you said it's in the infancy stages, so how do you leverage it now, or what's going on now that people who may not have an avatar, not interested in it, that's going to motivate them when they leave here and they go to Philly, that they come up with their own thing?
Yeah, well there's different types of avatars right now, right? So a lot of people here probably have a Bitmoji. That's like the first step, right? And that's just, again, like kind of like a mode of expression. But as you get into different computing devices, so whether it's the Vision Pro, whether it's the Oculus, you're going to be able to create your own avatar today. And then you can go explore different digital experiences. So they have different mini apps and so forth. You probably see them in Roblox, they're different worlds. So if you want to go and experience synchronous hangouts, different activities and more, then you can go create an avatar and then explore that different world.
There's Generation Z, which is what this crowd probably named is, and then there's Alpha, preparing for the next wave of under 30s, right? Generation Alpha, this crowd is not. Anything that predicts this, they don't know about it. That's Generation Alpha, right? 2013 beyond. How do you prepare for that one? Because I have a 10-year-old daughter. Yep. She's always asking me, Dad, can I get money for Roblox? Can I get money? Because she wants to update herself, right? She's engaged. Is this the crowd you're preparing for?
Yeah, I mean look, like, we're only gonna get more and more digitally immersed over time. I hated the word metaverse because it made everybody think so myopically about the future of the internet. They directly correlated it to Meta Horizon. But really, like, what the metaverse really should be talking about is just the future of the internet, right? It's us getting more digitally immersed. It's gonna be dictated by the next computing device. And as you get more digitally immersed, wherever you spend your time, you're gonna want to accessorize yourself. That's, again, just the visual aspect, but it gets really interesting when you focus on the information that can be stored in your avatar. The way that the avatar can act autonomously on your behalf, and you can conduct different activities without you being there. Or two, just the fact that your avatar's personality can develop based on your digital world experience.
Yeah. Well, they put the clock back on for me so I don't know how much time we have. Right there it goes. Flashback for me right fast. Got about 8 minutes left. For those people don't know, I like to give you guys opportunity to ask questions. So Slido.com, please submit your questions in case I missed something that you'd like to ask this man. But take me back, age 22. You're at Michigan, and you decide to leave college, drop out, and go do your thing. Flashback to that moment. Anything you would do differently?
What I would do differently, I'd probably tell my parents, that's one. They were not stoked. I was 8 credits away from graduating U of M, and then decided to drop out for the predecessor of Genies. I remember I was like studying up at the engineering school. Well, I wasn't studying. I mean, like everybody else was doing finals. I was working at the predecessor of Genies, which was Blend. And we made a college-exclusive social network. And the one rule we made, because we didn't have any money to market it, was anybody that downloads the app from Ohio State, we're deleting your accounts. And so we started doing that, and that went viral. Back then, you know, I'm 30 now. Back then, like 8 years ago, YouTube was just coming on to like the market and so forth. It started going viral. And my mom called me, she was like, whatever you do, please finish school. I was like, Mom, I got you. Then the next day I went through my papers and went back home. Got kicked out of my house in 2 seconds. So that I would probably change, that's one. And then two, I probably would have dropped out of high school. And I think the reason why is because...
Don't do that, okay? Don't do that.
Anytime people have to go speak at summer camps, I would say that, like, get them off stage. No, and the reason why is because even though I'm 30, I feel like in terms of experiences, I'm 60. And the reason why is because I've had so many years to be iterating, keep shipping stuff, and keep making stuff, and keep failing, and so forth. And so, like, if I got to have it back, you know, I feel like I have the hunger and the motivation of an 18-year-old. But the fact that I have experiences, people that are maybe like double my age, I think it's really impactful. So the more years that you can have, the better. And I feel like companies like Roblox and TikTok are changing that. People that are 13, 14, 15 are getting extremely entrepreneurial because they have access to so much. And I think that's very powerful.
Yeah, and you like to be engaged. Like I use my Oculus, and my daughter's always asking me to use it too because they like to be involved and engaged. And I guess this avatars help accelerate that. I'm going to hit the accelerator right fast and hit the gas and fast forward to after you drop out of college, you didn't tell your parents, and you go to Philly and you sneak in and you come up with it, and then you have to come to an opportunity where you're pivoting Genie, right? Because again, Cardi B Offset, they discovered it on a pandemic and it blows up, and you have to pivot now. Now Genie is developing and positioning itself as the developer and the creator of developing these tools for people like you to go out and create avatars and have the tools to do that. Explain to people out there who are entrepreneurs why at times you need to pivot your company to go in a different direction.
So, we didn't pivot the company. I think like...
Well, pivoting as far as what you guys were intending to do.
Well, I think actually, like, this is what happens sometimes. The vision is so grand here, right? Like, you can actually, like, piece together what we're saying. We're kind of sitting here being like, avatar experiences are going to be the mini apps in the future. And we're going to be the tools that provide people to create those mini apps in the future. You're kind of in so many ways saying that we're trying to do what Apple has done for Web 2, which is give them iOS 13, 14, and 15 and let developers create those. Now, you can't start there day one with a seed round, right? So you have to prove your MVP in order to afford the resources to continue to realize more and more of the vision. So I think what's happened is like, you know, like we will put a check mark on all the different celebrities and tastemakers and icons that use avatars today. We've nailed that side of the business. Now we've raised this large seed round, or Series C round. And because we've been able to raise that round and afford the resources, now we can take the big swing. Right. So AI creators are still very much a part of our core business. But to answer your question, like when to pivot your business, right? I feel like you do it in two different ways. One, if there's a bigger opportunity that presents itself, where you feel like you're staffed to be able to go after that opportunity. Or two, you quickly realize that your current solution is not working. If it's not working, you have to adjust course. I typically tell founders, like, you can set up your company in a way so you can have many shots on goal, or set up your company in a way where you can shut down the company really quickly and then go start your next thing, right? So as soon as like entrepreneurs can go through failure as early as possible, I think the better off they're going to be for a much bigger swing.
Yeah. You just mentioned celebrities again, Silver Lake and Bob Iger. Those are two names that, if you're not familiar, especially with Silver Lake, they're power players in investment in capital. And again, Kyrie Irving, I remember talking, and when I first discovered Genius was when, in 2001, I believe it was, talking to Victor Oladipo about this very company. How do you pitch a celebrity? Like, what do you do, and what do you say to them to get them to say yes?
You mean 2021, just making sure, right?
2021.
Okay, good.
Not 2001, 2020.
So I was just yeah. Okay, yeah. So, actually, I think the way that celebrities got involved with the business was not our initial intention. So we moved from San Francisco, we moved to LA, we didn't even know what CAA was. And I ended up meeting Offset's mom, as you do in LA, and she ended up asking what we did and so forth. And we told them that we were building avatars for everybody. She was like, "Can you make one for my son?" We're like, "Yeah, sure. Send us his Instagram." So she sent us Offset's Instagram. We're like, "Okay, make one." Made one for him. He posted on his Instagram, and then Cardi saw it. Cardi wanted one, and so forth. And it started a snowball effect. And they started leveraging avatars the same way that we intend everybody to use avatars, which is to be able to showcase a different side of your personality, memorialize key life-defining moments, and then make these really meaningful connections. And so we've never really pitched a celebrity outside of when we broke into Forbes 30 Under 30, and then I met Shawn Mendes, and then I pitched him. But it's always done with, do you believe in the product? Do you believe in the overarching mission outside of your own use case? And when they see how pure we are about how we want to accomplish our overall vision in the next 10 years, they just want to be part of it, right? And so their use case is very natural with our overall vision, but as long as they see the purity of what we're doing, and you're focusing on your overarching thesis without compromising on that and giving them the use case they want, I think you'll typically get it done.
Last thing before I get to questions from the crowd, and that is that the biggest piece of advice that maybe you got during that transitional period when you were trying to figure it all out, right? Maybe after 2017 when you launched it and during your pivot moments, the biggest piece of advice you still use today, you won't let up, and that you can give to this audience right now that they can use?
I would say it's our company's #1 virtue, which is, and I got a tattoo based on it, it's remain paranoid, never panic.
Remain paranoid and never panic.
Yeah, so I think you have to question everything and anything, and that means at all moments, right? So we have paranoia sessions at the company where people are saying things on the whiteboard that are lethal and fatal for the company, but it's better to have those concerns up there so that we can methodically address the issue. And you never panic, right? You look at what's reality, what should we actually address, and then you move forward.
Yeah. Thank you. We're going to get to the questions right now. Paul is asking, how does a pre-product company raise $200 million? What is the secret?
Yeah, so our product has been live for the past 3 years or so, has been the celebrity product that he's been referring to. So we signed deals with UMG and WMG and so forth, and became the official avatar and digital goods provider for all of the talent. So that was one segment of the vision. And when you get in the room with people like Bob, or people like Silver Lake, or people like Barry, for example, and they can see the numbers and they can see how people are buying into an avatar affiliation outside of a video game, that's when people get really excited. So we're super excited to be able to release the developer kit. We feel like that's the big swing of the business. And yeah, we're going to have our MVP coming out in December. So pretty stoked.
And I will end it on this, but I think this is a great way to kind of conclude it. And it's from Sheena. She says, why work to have an avatar when people can work on themselves in real life?
Look, I actually love this question because I don't think an avatar is supposed to replace your human self. Unless Elon comes out with Neuralink V5 and reincarnated as avatars, right? Your physical self is always going to exist. So the question becomes, how can you use the avatar to be able to elicit more authenticity from your physical self that should result in better connections? So I think working on your avatar and being able to foster these like-minded connections in the next iteration of the internet will inherently help you.
Mr. Needham, thank you so much. Appreciate it. CEO of Genius, please give him a round of applause. Thank you, guys.
For spotlight presentation is Alex, content creator, and moderator Stephen Bertoni, assistant managing editor, founders, Forbes.
All right, Drewski, Alex, thanks for joining us. Show of hands, who here follows Alex on social? Oh
my gosh.
Who follows Drewski on social? Who follows me on social? Well, I'm excited to join. Thank you for joining us, guys. It's awesome. We just heard from Matt Rife, and he was saying he was an overnight success, 12 years in the making. So he was grinding it out. Both of you found viral success, over the pandemic. I want to hear from both of you, what sparked that? Going from kind of obscurity to suddenly having thousands of fans in the world, let alone billions of fans out there.
I mean, for me, it was kind of this past year that everything took off, and I was trying so hard on social media for years, which is why I feel like it's such an honor to be here and be recognized, because I think that, you know, it can be inspiring for other people, because I really had a love for posting, and, you know, I post 3 to 4 times a day, every day, and I feel like it was kind of a snowball effect and took off over time, but it was really this past year for me that made a big difference and got me to where I am today. But, you know, just doing what you love and sticking to it, because, you know, it's not always going to come right away, overnight.
For you, was there one video that kind of took off, or was it more gradual, like Alex was saying?
I think that whole time during like the pandemic, that was really like everybody's time to tune into everything I was doing. I know COVID had such a bad effect, but like COVID was great for me, man. You know, outside of feeling like I couldn't breathe, I mean, shit. It just made everybody stay in the house and not so much coming on television because nobody's out like recording stuff. So the main thing was everybody watching anything on social media. So I took that time and I just went full-fledged and like, bro, I never let up.
And once you both had these amazing platforms, these followers, suddenly you had this marketing machine built in for free. How did you take it from being viral and have all these followers, and you both jumped into building businesses and going well beyond social media? Alex, podcast, you have so much other stuff, live tours, you know, TV, you name it. What advice, how did you guys jump from, wow, I have all these followers, to like, let's build a business on this?
I mean, at first, I really knew, like, I wanted to try and monetize off of social media, and this was my junior year of college. I was reaching out to so many management brands, and they all were denying me, and they're like, you don't have enough followers, like, we're too busy right now, like, we don't have time for you. And I was like, okay, like, whatever, I kept trying, and finally, you know, I found a great manager, and she was all the way in Australia, but I was like, you know what, this works for me, like, and I was able to start monetizing off of it, and I think that's when I started to kind of take it a little bit more seriously and realize that you can kind of build a business out of social media, and you know, that's where I like got my start. But I would say to anyone who's trying to do that, you know, don't give up. And I got rejected by so many places before, you know, someone accepted me, and I think having a good team behind you when you're, you know, working on social media is super important, just because, you know, you want to make sure that you're getting into the right things and you're not getting into like a contract that's going to end up like screwing you over. So I think that's super important.
You got a lot going on.
Yeah.
Give everybody here a quick summary of this.
All right. Yeah, thank you. Speaking of contracts, I overheard her say that Could Have Been Records, one of my businesses. You know? Not sure if y'all know about Could Have Been Records. Yeah, you know, I'm a businessman. I think the first thing first, you got to get that funny money, man. So over this time, I'm working with like companies like Nike, Raising Cane's, Google Pixel, to name a few. Not trying to be cocky, just saying. But I think it's been a blessing though, and I think you know, you got to really lock in, and like when you talk to some of these companies, you got to understand that you're putting yourself into something like that is of your purpose, right? So my first thing when I talk to these companies, I always let them know like what I'm into, like what I'm cool with doing. I don't want to do anything outside of like the creative like subject that I have, you know? I never want to do anything that's uncomfortable for me, and I just want to continue to be myself. So I think they always respect that, and which is why I always can put out like funny commercials and like work with a lot of these big companies comfortable.
Speaking about Could Have Been Records, that beef with Birdman and Drake.
Oh yeah,
is that real? Is that real?
Birdman in here? We good.
Is that real, or is that just a
Come on,
plan?
Come on. You know they're recording this, brother. Come on. Next question.
Both rocked the Spade the last year. Alex, you were still in college. You're majoring in marketing and then giving a master class in marketing, so to speak, in your life. How has this changed your personal life? Like, you're building businesses, but both of you are also opening up your personal lives, and maybe putting your lives at risk a little bit. And how has that affected you, like, with your family, friends, and just your way of life? Because you guys you're super famous, and that's happened really fast. What's that been like?
I mean, it's a lot to put yourself out there and kind of put your personal life out there, but I think that's a lot of what my brand is, and I think as scary as it can be, it's also super rewarding, and I feel like I've built a really great community through it, and I always meet people and they're like, oh my gosh, like I feel like I know you, and I'm like, you basically do, because I am telling you like probably way too much, but it's honestly, I don't know, I've had like a lot of fun with it, and everyone around me, my friends, my family, they get it, and you know, I know who I hang around with that like they want to keep things a little bit more personal, so you know, like they choose what they do and don't want to share when they're with me, but a lot of the times like everyone I'm with is just like having fun with it, and like they're super supportive, so it's been a good process for me. How about you?
Everything was good till they put that net worth out there. So yeah, I got a lot of calls from family.
That was estimated. Forbes estimated that you made around 10 million less.
Nah, that's just numbers, man. That ain't correct.
You said that changed. That changed your perception a little bit.
Nah. I think you said the chain. Oh yeah, I said that. Just to say, I'm just saying numbers. But yeah, nah, it did change a lot, and I think it was great for me though, because that's what I wanted. I always prayed for this, and I prayed that God would put me in a position to take care of my family and my friends, and you know, build a great team and try to bring comedy to the world. So it's been a blessing, seriously.
All right. How many people out here want to up their social game, their followers, maybe for themselves, for their businesses? Who's interested in that?
Join for the records.
Yeah. We got two professors up here. What advice would you have for everyone out there? Everyone wants to, you know, either whether it's their company, it's themselves, they want to get into the game. What advice would you have for someone who wants to really get into the social media world?
You know, I would say stick to it and don't give up, because, you know, like I said, it's not always going to happen overnight, and I think just, I don't know, don't be afraid of what other people are thinking of you. I know like a lot of times people judge me and they're like, really? Like you're making a TikTok video and like that's what you're going to do for work after school? And I was like, yes, like I want to make something from this, and I had a lot of fun creating the videos, editing the videos, and I think that's what's, you know, such a big deal and means so much to be recognized by Forbes as a top creator, because you know Forbes is the icon of business outlets, and I think it just really shows that you know social media is now in this day and age, like it wasn't always, but can be taken as a serious career, and I think just stick to it, and you know even if you feel a little weird or people are making fun of you, just keep going and do what you love.
Yeah, I want to hear Drewski's answer, but you mentioned Forbes top creator. 50 people on the list made more than $750 million combined last year, so that is a real business, and that's just 50 people. Yeah. What advice do you have for us?
I remember, you know, a lot of people took social media for a joke at first about, you know, like she said, taking it serious, and like companies wouldn't take certain people serious, or like if you were an actor or a comedian and you wanted to get in a movie, maybe you're not the social media, you know, comedian that they're looking for. I think I just had to break down the boundaries, and like when you meet some of these people, they do have that look on their face like, he does like social media stuff. He's not a natural comedian. Like he's not the #1, you know, what you would think of, I guess, back in the 90s and the early 2000s, what a comedian would be. But yeah, no, you just got to push down the boundaries, stay consistent. And not really listen to what everybody else has to say. I think a lot of people thought social media was like for jokes and it doesn't make any money, and now we're here, you know, so it's just been a blessing. All of this has been great.
Yeah, I mean, you both are gate crashers. You did it yourselves, you didn't go through the entertainment or, you know, fashion machine, you did it yourselves. And that's so much freedom, but also there's a lot of pressure because you can always be posting, and it's, you know, it's blank slate. How do you decide what to post, when to post, on what network, on what platform? Like, give us all some advice on how do you go through like your daily week, or you know, okay, what's the strategy of building stuff, whether it's short, whether it's long? You're both doing big long form stuff now. Tell us about that.
I think the main thing. Sorry to cut you off, but I think the main thing is you got to understand that everything is not just going to blow up. Right? So if you're out there trying to do social media, the consistency thing may sound annoying coming from everybody else, but it's a real thing. Because, you know, I used to think if this skit got millions of views, that the next one, it has to get that, or I'm a failure. But in all honesty, everything is not going to go viral, right? So you just got to stay consistent, and you know, as you continue to go, everything will grow.
Yeah, I think staying consistent with the content as well. Like, if you're looking at someone's page, they may have a super viral video, and you know, you click on their account, but every video like isn't kind of in that same niche or something, and like the content like may be all over the place. Like, I think finding your niche and sticking to it really helps a lot. And for me, a lot of the content that I post is in real time, and it just kind of like comes to me, and I don't know, I'm posting whatever I'm thinking at the moment, and that's what I found like kind of works for me with TikTok, and just short snippets of what's going on in my life. And now I have this podcast where I'm kind of having to like plan out content in advance, but at the same time I still want it to be relevant to what's going on in my life. Like, I don't want to be, you know, I have an episode coming out on Thursday about being in Paris, and I was there a week and a half ago, so I don't want it to be like 4 months later and talking about Paris. So it's like, you kind of got to plan it out a little bit to just make sure it's like staying relevant when it is the longer form content. But I think with TikTok, for me at least, it's pretty in the moment and whatever's coming to my mind.
We're all looking forward to the Cleveland edition podcast.
Yes, yeah.
You're thinking about like, the general topics for this. You're planning out the podcasts, what we're going to think about, what we're going to cover.
Yeah, and I have different segments for it. So, you know, I'll have like the main segment, which is maybe a message or a big story about my life that I want to get out, or recapping something that's happened. And then I have other little segments where I'm kind of able to like go back in and, you know, fill in what's like been going on in my life that week, and I don't know, go a little bit deeper than maybe I'm getting into my life on TikTok.
How do you handle your skits in your comedy? Because a lot of it is improv, right? But also a lot of it's, you know, they're real shows, and it's really, you know, Alex is all about in the moment, you know, being transparent and herself, and you put on characters, you know, great acting and stuff. How do you plan out those episodes?
With my team, man, you gotta, you know, I grew up around a lot of funny motherfuckers, man, so I keep them around me, and they also help with coming up with different content and different jokes to punch up. So I think when we hang out and just live life, I think the biggest thing about just doing anything is just experiencing life, and the best comedy can come from that. So yeah, that's pretty much how we do everything.
So we talked about how you all choose what to post, when to post. You also have a ton of brand deals. Tell me about some of the brands you're working with. Alex, you go first.
You know, I'm working with have been like L'Oreal, you know, they cover so much. And then something as niche as like Wawa, which is this like kind of gas station food place.
Where are New Jerseyans in the house? Raise your hand in New Jersey. All right, they know Wawa. Alex and I are Monmouth County representing right here.
Yeah, so growing up I would go to this, it's technically gas station food, but it's much better quality, it's very good. And I
It's
would
a high-end
go.
gas station. So it rolls over.
Yeah.
This
is like
no, it's even better.
the icon of my life. And you know, I go to Florida, they have a Wawa there. I'm always talking about it, incorporating it into my content, and like they reach out to me and want to work with me. And that to me is just like the craziest thing, when you genuinely just love a brand so much. And I think that's honestly, you know, the most important part when you're working with a brand is making sure like you actually like the product, and you know, you genuinely support the brand. Otherwise, like, it's not going to go over well. And I think the audience can really tell. I mean, way back in the beginning of me first getting brand deals, I was trying on like these dresses or something, and you know, they weren't fitting correctly, like they weren't good. I'd never like worn the brand before, and I was, you know, putting it on, and everyone could kind of tell in the comments that like she does not like these outfits, like, you know, she like isn't interested. And I think that was like a big learning moment for me, because I was like, you know, it's just like not worth it, and I would never want to lose that trust with my audience. So I think that's a super big part of accepting a brand deal when you want to work with them, is like making sure that you genuinely actually like the product or the brand that you're working with, and if not, like learning about it ahead of time, because I don't know, the trust with your audience is what got me to where I am, so I wouldn't want to like go back and, you know, backtrack and lose that all.
Interesting. How do you pick what brands you work with and what brands you turn down?
I think honestly, when I back in like 2015, when I was dropping out of college, I wrote down my goals, and one of the goals was to work with one of my favorite companies, Nike. and actually that goal came true this year. And I think just letting everybody know, that doesn't answer this question, but I think writing down goals for everybody out there just wondering, like believing it, writing it down, and actually doing the action behind it. Because I think a lot of people make mood boards and do stuff and then get drunk and then be like, forget that, I ain't doing that. But honestly, I think if you put action behind it, you write it down, and you actually believe it, because believing it is also the second step. That can come true, and that happened for me this year. We started working with Nike, but yeah, what was the question again, brother? I just wanted to tell you.
Yeah, a little bragging.
I'm way off topic, but I wanted to get y'all to know that, right?
Yeah, we're saying other, like, I'm sure you guys get tons of offers when you say yes to a brand versus no to a brand. What goes through your head?
I think the people behind it too. It's not always just about like if you like it. I think also you can go into business with people that aren't good people. I think you got to meet like the people who are hiring you to do the job and like figure out what type of people they are, what their beliefs are, and like what they believe in their company. That's also a big factor, because you could be behind somebody that might be into some stuff that you might not want to be behind the scenes, you know?
Yeah. And then we have a good question from the audience here. Both of you have really high engagement rates with your audiences. How do you manage that engagement? What's the secret sauce between like, yes, I want to get the conversation going, but I also don't want to spend 12 hours a day online, like interacting, answering haters. Like, what is the kind of the perfect balance for high engagement and interacting with your fans?
I mean, I think you get out of it what you give. Like, I always make sure that I'm engaging back with my audience, and I think that's super important. And honestly, like, it doesn't feel like a job or a chore to like, I have fun. Like, I'm answering people in the comments and like going through, hearing what they have to say. Like, I feel like it's a fun community, and I think that if you want to get those high levels of engagement, like, they need to see that from you and see that you're more than like a person popping up on their phone, you know? Like, you have to give a little bit more to yourself and who you are. So I think that helps a lot with engagement.
I think giving back to the fans and like showing love, and like also like commenting back, doing meet and greets. Even on tour, we did so many meet and greets that I went on. Yeah, just engaging with everybody and not just being like just throwing the content up there. They actually want to feel like they know who you are and like experience the comedy with you. And well, at least that's how I look at it, you know?
We have like a minute and a half left. Give me a big, bold prediction about social media in the next year or two.
Could have been records over Birdman. Don't tell him I said that though.
You'll never find out.
I'm scared of him.
Alex, what do you think? Your podcast, where are we going with social media?
A big prediction. Where am I going, or social media in general?
I mean, both.
Oh boy, okay. You know, I think for me, I'm taking it day by day and, you know, have a lot of plans behind the scenes, but social media in general, I think that, I don't know if this is necessarily answering the question, but I think like staying true to yourself and like sticking out, because I think now, kind of different than when it was like during COVID, I think it was a little like, you know, easier. There wasn't as many people on social media, and now it's like so congested, and like there is a lot of the same content going out. So I think, you know, finding your niche and sticking to it, and, you know, being yourself and trying not to like blend in with everyone else, I think is a big part. That didn't really answer the question, but.
That's a great way to end it.
What she was trying to say is could have been records over Birdman.
All right. We'll end it there. Alex, Earl, Drewski, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Machine Gun Kelly, thank you so much for joining me. So this is a real homecoming for you. You even have a day named after you here in Cleveland.
Yeah, thank you, man.
So, you know, people know you for your music, your acting, but more recently you've become quite the businessman. So I want to start by talking about the 27 Club, your coffee brand. You chose Cleveland to kind of launch that and be the home. Talk to me about why coffee for your first venture, and why here in Cleveland?
Well, as far as why I would do anything in Cleveland, I think, you know, you got to view where you're going to build your structure at as, you know, from a pragmatic standpoint. Like if you build something, no matter how grand or great the idea is, on quicksand, it's going to inevitably sink because of gravity. You can never fight gravity, and obstacles are inevitable, just like gravity is. Wow, my earrings are really annoying.
No, I had to take mine off earlier for the same reason. There we go.
I've never went beaver before, guys, so I don't know what to do with my hands.
Very anchorman on this stage.
Like I was saying, if you build something on quicksand, it's going to sink.
Yeah.
And so you need to have a foundation that is going to be indestructible no matter what gravity is doing, because gravity is a metaphor for obstacles. It's inevitable. And so this city is my rock. Like, I know that anything that I build here has a support that isn't going to break no matter what. So yeah, so.
And tell me about what it is about coffee in the space that interests you.
About coffee?
Yeah.
So, I mean, as I grew mentally, I was looking for, from an immature standpoint, you know, you grow, and as pain kind of gets into your psyche, you look for highs, right? You look for like an escape, or you look for something that is going to, life can beat you down, you get tired, so, you know, you are looking for something as a pick-me-up, and so, you know, I would smoke a lot of weed, or I would drink, or I would do these things, like looking for a high, and a lot of it was on a clean high, and so when I started drinking coffee, I came to coffee really late, probably 25, 24, 25, that became my new vibe, and I was able to, you know, before, it's almost like when you're able to have a ritual, and I don't mean it in the sense of, you know, magic, I mean in the sense of something that your body is familiar with, where it can know that this is going to happen every day, and the rest of what happens after that is, you know, you're able to channel something new. So when you have like a repetitive act, like I'm going to wake up every day and make my coffee and drink my coffee, your body is comfortable with that, so it doesn't have to wake up like, oh my God, what do I do?
Right.
It knows what it's going to start doing, and then the rest is, you're able to receive, you know, some new sensory experiences that come to you. But that's only because, again, it goes back to my example of having a solid foundation, like your day starts with something.
Yeah.
So the rest you can add on. If we're using houses as an example, you can add on like a new painting that day, or you can add different tiles to your roof or something.
Yeah, a good type of routine for sure.
More than coffee.
Tell us more about it.
I would just say it's you know, essentially it's more than coffee, right? Like,
yeah.
I have no tie to Pete's Coffee. I don't know who Pete is. I don't care. Unless it's like Pete Davidson, my friend, right? Right.
We should go for that.
But P-E-E,
yeah.
P-E-E, whatever that guy's name is, I don't know Pete.
Yeah.
I don't know Starbucks, I don't know what that means. 27 Club is something that's ingrained in our mind because of the stigma of the artists and entertainers who had died at 27. Yeah. And so I wanted, just as a musician and as an artist, I wanted to, you know, build a brand that is for creatives, and you know, as you consume, you also consume something up here, because with those brands, like I said, there isn't something that, you know, taps into my emotion, or there's not something that I leave with. I just leave with a cup of coffee.
Yeah.
This you leave with, oh, I learned like the aesthetic is, you know, special.
Yeah, that's great.
And then we have great cocktails, and even the drinks are served like themes. You know, there's like, my favorite is the lithium lemonade. It's kind of dark, but it's like, it's vodka lemonade, and it's activated charcoal in like a syringe.
Ooh, that sounds great.
So it kind of...
Yeah. I think what people are wondering, we got nearly 70 fan questions for you from our under 30 community. Carolina asks, do you plan to expand 27 Club to other cities like LA, for example, since you live there, or do you prefer for it to be a Cleveland thing, something just for here?
No, I mean, I would want to definitely take it to different hubs, like, you know, Tokyo for sure. I would love to do some more Midwest ones. I I just believe in getting something as close to ready to be shown rather than, you know, so I think every couple months I'll go in and be like, oh, this isn't quite right, or we'll redo the floors, or we'll add a new painting, or we'll, you know, change the saying on the wall, or I'm just kind of getting it ready for its next phase. It's like a child. It's like in elementary school right now, so as it grows, it'll, you know, and when it goes to college, it'll like go to other places.
And it sounds like you're super involved in everything too. For you as a creative, what's it been like to then have to flip into the business side of the industry, kind of flip your mindset?
I don't flip my mindset. I stay as nebulous in that sense. Or I play Switzerland in all the business. I don't think about money or numbers. I have a great team around me that does do that, because if I did think about that, the creativity would suffer.
Yeah.
So I make sure that I throw out the craziest ideas and they reel it back in when it's too crazy.
Love that. That's a good way to look at it. So you recently launched an all-gender nail brand. Can you tell us about that and the inspiration behind it?
Well, I'm a 90s baby, so those are... We're still cool, we're still cool. I'm a 90s baby, so I kind of let things that I grew up with inspire my endeavors, so that was kind of like, I like to vintage shop a lot, so when I see mood rings at the front counter, I'm always like, oh, I remember those, and I used to love mood rings, except like I grew older and my taste elevated, so I see the shape and the make of mood rings, and I'm like, wow, those are really ugly. And I wouldn't wear those now, but I like the concept, you know, and so, because it always is kind of like, ooh, look what I'm feeling, you know, and so I think that graduated into a more manicured, no pun intended, form of expression, which is my nails. So this is an example of, I watched Kill Bill 1 and 2 a couple of days ago, and I just was like, oh, I love some Kill Bill nails.
Yeah, I hope everyone in the audience can see these, because these are really cool. But that's really cool.
Wow, that's so uncomfortable seeing yourself on
I know, right?
I shouldn't have worked.
But you were always seemingly ahead of the trend. Like, you've always been known for your nails, which I think is one of the coolest parts about you. You know, how did you know that would take off, and how did you like tap into the culture to launch that?
I don't think I know anything is going to take off. If it feels right to me, then it just, I have to assume that I will be able to connect with somebody. My goal is definitely not to connect with everybody. In fact, like, I like to be a fire starter. You know, when the environment is cold, I like the spark. People gather around it. They can either tell stories about how much they're uncomfortable with what this fire is doing, or they can add to it, or they can take from it. I might get burned in the process of starting the fire, but ultimately it gives, you know, more than it takes. So I'm okay with doing things that kind of shake up what's going on in the culture. And you need that. You know, you need someone to stir the pot.
Yeah. Speaking of stirring the pot, tell me, are there any other potential ventures that excite you right now that you want to tell us about?
I mean, I think what should happen and what is going to happen is starting a record label. And I say that as if I don't know and have already not trademarked the name and I'm having a whole rollout for that happening. But yeah, record label is next.
That's awesome.
And then I think, you know, just to be candid, because this won't happen for years, but one day I would love to write and direct a martial arts movie.
That's cool. Are you very into martial arts, or?
Not like physically.
Okay.
Like, yeah, like my friends will walk in and I'll be like in the back there like swinging a sword, but like, you know, I don't look cool doing it. Like, I probably won't be in the movie, but I'm super inspired by just like anything, like just with that, with the art of that, like the discipline that comes from it.
Yeah.
You know, I just spent a couple weeks in Tokyo, just, you know, watching them make the food. Every grain of rice, everything they did had an intention. It's so, that's such a lost thing here in America. We're so about like over-serving, over-consumption, quick, as long as it gets there, you know. So that's the same thing with the 27 Club. That's like, my man, get the fuck away from me. Yo, what are you doing? What are you doing? This is a bad look. Don't make me do this. Don't make me do this, bro.
Okay. You alright?
But you know what?
What?
Maybe that was a good idea for him. Because maybe he had a great idea. Actually, that makes me tunnel into something else.
Yeah, go for it.
I'm sorry, I try to live the dichotomy more on this side than the other guy. I know that. But here's what I would like to say, and I do apologize for my primal reaction, but this is, yeah.
You handled that amazingly, by the way. Yeah.
My advice for people who have an idea that want to present it to other creators or people that they believe can be a vessel for their idea is like, pick a good time and a place. This was a bad time. When I'm eating food and noodles are in my mouth, that's a bad time. When I'm with my daughter at a volleyball game or I'm being a father, that's a bad time. 100%. I think a lot of that is misunderstood, like these are moments that are owed. Yeah. But a good businessman always knows the time, and I think patience is the biggest key to that. The reason why I don't, and why I will wait for things to blossom is because you don't plant the seed and it grows overnight. You just have to I see some, I waited 10 years over the course of 4 different, kind of meetings in the sense of just like shaking hands or just quick energy exchanges with Jay-Z.
Wow.
And my 4th time after 10 years was the one I had been waiting for the whole time.
Wow. And
it was just that he just saw me rapping a verse to a song that other people in the it was a deep cut, and it was like
what was it?
It's called "I Love the Dough" featuring Biggie. I think it's track number 7 off of Life After Death album.
Okay. Amazing.
Track 7 or 6. This is back when CDs were still a thing. And anyway, I never forced myself into a situation that would make it awkward.
Yeah.
But I would be around. Like I would be at a Rock Nation brunch. I would, be. I remember they were taking this group picture, and Nipsey was like, hop in the picture. And I saw Jay. I might have invented this, but I saw Jay kind of like give a side eye, and I was like, oh, maybe I shouldn't.
Yeah.
Go for it. Like that, and whatever. So I was kind of like, no, you guys got it, whatever. And I sat back, and. That was like my 3rd interaction. My 1st interaction, we were at an all-star game in Houston, and we were sitting behind Kobe, and we get these 3 tequila shots, and a tray comes up, and they're like, these are from Mr. Carter. And we look over, and Jay-Z looks back and he goes, and, that was such a high for us, but I never wanted to, again, force an awkward interaction, and so I just stayed patient, and, randomly at Beyonce's birthday party, I just was rapping "I Love the Dough," and I was the only person that was kind of rapping the lyrics. The party was like, he came over and hit me on the chest hard as fuck, and
how'd you pitch him? What'd you say?
Oh, what do I got to pitch a venture word? No, I don't have any business for him. I was just saying that's an example of what patience did. That interaction gave me. It gave me motivation to then go and maybe make something great happen, right? Like something great might have happened. That might have been, sometimes it only takes one sentence or one word or one experience that leads to the idea that you need to change your life, or the energy that you needed when you were drained and had no motivation. Yeah. For someone to come and, lift you up and put you back on the high pedestal that that you should have for yourself. And so that was like, I would never do that. Yeah. However, it is so ironic because the way that I met my manager was doing something similar to that, but I did it from the crowd.
Can you tell us about it?
I was in a building parallel to this one, and I was at a music seminar, and they let a kid from Atlanta perform at a Cleveland music seminar, and this was in front of all these New York execs. Lenny S, who was with Jay at Rock Nation, was actually at this, and we became neighbors later on. But this is the first time I met him. He was on the panel like we are right now, and I was in the car, I had spent my rent money to come to this seminar, and I couldn't believe that a kid from Atlanta was getting the shot.
That's really
And so once he finished, I just stood on my chair and was like, why don't you let someone from Cleveland perform? And so they were like, all right, like, and they, I came up and I gave them my demo and I grabbed the mic and everyone talked about me from that point on, and I ended up meeting my manager, who's still my manager to this day, and
We have another question from Lauren Pettinger. Out of everything you've done in your career, what are you most proud of?
Probably being able to still see the same faces around me that I started with. I think also, you know, being able to get away from focusing on accomplishments being what validates you. You should find a way to love your human self without your career self or your character that we ultimately put on before we leave the door. So me being able to be proud of the man that I'm becoming is definitely like, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Jacqueline asks, could you share a memorable failure or setback that you experienced in your entrepreneurial journey and what you learned from it?
I used to have bad anger problems. I think the biggest thing I learned from setbacks was doing things I wasn't ready to do, but forcing myself to do them. Like if I was going to do a press conference, but I was in a bad mood, just don't go. Right? Because you're just going to go and show the world a side of you that maybe you don't want them to see, that they're going to then take that one impression of you for the rest of their life, maybe. They might not see another impression of you, but that day is enough to ruin their view of you. So yeah. I wish I would have, I mean, these are things I still do with. Like Lil Durk hit me to come and play guitar with him the other day for a show. I didn't realize it was for Thursday Night Football and that it was live. And I got there and they were like, yeah, just do a guitar solo. And this is for a song, like I've never played guitar to this song. You know, this was just something I was super unsure of, and I was like, I had to take deep breaths and ask myself. And then I didn't know it was live. I thought we were just jamming. I didn't really know what was happening.
Yeah.
And then I thought it was like live. And then the worst thing happened. The production manager came back and they were like, "It's a lot of viewers tonight." Like thinking it would pump me up. Like, oh, awesome, dude! A lot of people were watching. It was yeah. So I had to take a breath and be like, is this something that I'm willing to either go out and look like, you know, because my mind wasn't wrapped around it. So yeah. I can either look really dumb. Or if the universe is telling me it's going to go your way, you're going to look great. So I asked and I made the decision based off of the fact that I knew it was going to be great. But back in the day, I would have forced it no matter what. And there's plenty of times when I look back on things and I'm like, oh, I wish I would have just not, you know, I wish I would have listened to my gut. And
absolutely, yeah. I'm going to ask two more questions. So I want to talk about marketing and how you market both yourself and your brand. What are some of the difficulties and the challenges you faced and how have you overcome those?
I don't know, I can't lie, my energy's a little scattered just from...
That's totally fair.
Because I empathize and feel for the guy.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is a time and a place, but I also, you know, I don't ever want to... I don't know.
No, I know. And
I don't ever want to shoot down anyone's dream.
Yeah.
You know? So, yeah, part of me, like, I definitely am an empath, so I feel a lot of people. So, and he, you know, as he was getting dragged away, I looked in his eyes and I was like, you're a good kid.
Do you want to end on any advice, you know, you would give any young entrepreneurs or anyone or anything? And I know it's hard right now to think about this, but is there any way you want to end here in a way that would make you feel comfortable and us all feel comfortable today?
How can I make everyone feel comfortable?
For talking backstage, we actually got a really good question that I think would be good here. Okay, Rachel asks, and you wanted to do this one too. What's your favorite animal?
Right now, my favorite animal is a narwhal. They're so mysterious. And they just got that horn on there, and I'm just like, why you got that horn on?
Honestly, that's a mystery.
Yeah, you're huge. Just use your mouth.
Yeah. Well, listen, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it.
That concludes today's programming. Thank you all for all our incredible speakers. Once again, we'd like to give a sincere thank you to our sponsors. Thank you to our
So it is the closing party. Should be fun. I think. We'll see. You'll see.